All right, everybody. I'm here to talk about my top 10 transfer moves of the offseason in NCAA 2020. We'll run down from the back end to the front. So, my 10th best signing um, was a quarterback from Kentucky, Daryl Slack. Um, Slack is a younger player, so not often you get a player with this kind of youth in the transfer market. One of the reasons I think he was not re-signed by Kentucky is because of his accuracy. He doesn't have the best accuracy as far as he's only a 67, so that's probably the big reason why he was in the market. If you look at his stats, the first 2 years he started for Kentucky, he threw for 5,700 yards and 4,500 yards, so he's put up some big numbers as far as yardage. Touchdowns, he threw for 53 touchdowns 1 year and 30 touchdowns the other. Unfortunately, he had some high interception numbers with 33 and 24, so he's kind of one of those volume passers that puts up big numbers but also can hurt you. And I know he had a real bad game in his last game as a starter in the playoffs for Kentucky. And so while Alabama has Terry at quarterback, I think it's nice to get somebody of youth to come in and push Terry. Also, maybe get some little playing time here and there, and also have someone to groom for the future if he decides Slack is the guy. So that's my 10th best signing of the off season. We'll move to number 9. And number 9 is Lawrence Alston. This player is a cornerback who went from Cal and was signed to Arkansas. He's a graduate transfer, so he's in his 12th year. This will be his first and only year with Arkansas. And there's nothing really spectacular about the player. He's a 65 overall rating on base, so it's not like he's going to light the world up. But in a league where DBs are a premium, it's kind of hard to be able to get a DB in the transfer market. So with the problem I see with him is his speed. He's only 63 speed, but he makes up for it with some of his other attributes. He's got really good zone coverage. He's an 83, and he's above average in man coverage in 76. He's a good tackler with 82, so he's going to be a legitimate player. While I don't know if he'd be a great number 1 or number 2, I think he'd be good for depth. He has enough cover skills to come in as a depth player. He started the last couple years at Cal, 63 tackles last year with 3 interceptions. He had 2 interceptions in 2018 and 6 interceptions in the first year in 2017. So he does have production. He gives up a little bit more catch allowed percentage than you'd like, with 46% on his career. So he's a solid, not spectacular, but I think it's a good signing considering the position and Arkansas needing a DB to go to compete with some of the other guys to give them depth. So that's my number 9 signing. That's Lawrence Alston for Arkansas. And my number 8 signing is going to be defensive end Anthony Howard. Anthony Howard was on Washington, one of the better teams in the NCAA last year, so he brings a little bit of experience. He's another graduate transfer in his 12th year. Comes in with an 81 overall base rating. He's not super productive as far as a sack guy out of the defensive end position, and that might be due to his 48 speed, but he definitely has strength with 85. And he got really good run defense, 96, 97, and that's where you're going to get the value out of this player. Decent pass rush with the 78, 79, so he does have pass rush moves. It's just a matter of if he has the speed to actually get home and get the sack. So last year he had 6 sacks, and then he got 9 sacks and 9 sacks the other 2 years in each year. So he's solid. He's one of those. He's a good defensive end, especially against the run, but he's not going to blow you away with his sack numbers. But I like this pickup. So that's Anthony Howard, my number 8th best signing for UCLA. Okay, move to number 7. And my number 7 is defensive tackle Thomas Holtz. And Holtz, he was another player from Washington. So this is two starters from Washington's D line that have had to leave due to graduation. And Holtz is a similar player to Howard in that he's not the fastest player. He is an 84-84 on his base weights, and he's another graduate transfer. And what he brings is, as far as his experience and his strength, intelligence, he's a real smart player, and he's a dynamite pass rush move specialist. Great swim move, spin move. He has all the little techniques that you want, and he's a good run stuffer. He just doesn't have the elite speed that you look for on a D lineman, and that's probably what's held him back. If you look at his stats over the years, he's had 5 sacks, 8 sacks, and 4 sacks. But he's definitely holds up, gets some hurries. He's going to add to that Rutgers D line, who features like 3 really good defensive linemen already. So I think he'll bring an added dimension. He might even see his sack numbers go up just because of the players around him. So I like that signing. That's my number 6 best signing, with Thomas Holtz, defensive tackle for Rutgers. And my number 5, it's also UCLA is coming in again here. So they had a busy offseason, and that's defensive end Paul Walters. And this is a player that's bounced around. He started his first couple years at Cal, and then he got picked up by Clemson, and now as a graduate senior in his 12th year, he's going over to UCLA. He's an 85-85 on base weights, so he's definitely got that value as far as what kind of player he can be. What I like about him is he has the speed, the strength, as well as he can tackle really well. He's a 92 tackler, so I always like that as a defensive lineman, especially when so many D linemen get to the quarterback and bounce off. And so this is a really exciting player that UCLA was able to pick up. In his last couple years, he's had 9 sacks, 10 sacks, and 8 sacks. So he has production, and UCLA is dying to get some production on defense. The only problem I see is UCLA got a couple older guys. I don't know if they're ready to contend yet. So if these players that are one and done that are coming over to them, I don't know if they're going to put them over the top, or if they're just going to get them back to maybe play or a bowl chance. But still good pickups nonetheless. That's my number 5 best pickup of the offseason. That's Paul Walters, defensive end.